It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, 2 outstanding middle schools here to play our game. We'll be testing their science literacy and we'll be testing yours too. We hope you play along. Let's meet today's teams. First from Hyattsville Middle School, would you please say hello to Owen Renberg, Nicholas Owen, and Nella Higgins. And from Samuel Ogle Middle School, say hi to Hoven Zoo, Ava Omer, and Madifa Ambe. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's science potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
And here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty, with the easier questions on the left worth 5 and 10 points, and the tougher ones 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points, no penalties ever for incorrect answers. Down to the 2 rounds, one of these 2 good-looking teams will come back to play our game again and perhaps advance to this year's middle school semifinals. Let's go over and make sure everything works properly before we start. Nicholas, would you try your buzzer? Red team looks A-OK. Good luck to you, to Nella, and to Owen. Nice to have you all back again. You're all Science Bowl vets. And over at the green team, Ava, would you try your buzzer? And Ava's a first-timer. We're really happy to have her here. And Hoven and Madifa, nice to have you back on the show. Let's have a good game. You all know how to play this game, and you're all good at it. So let's have a really decent competition. We go alphabetically H before S. So Hyattsville and Nicholas, let's play this game.
Body systems for 15 points, please.
Body systems for 15 points. Teams, British Prime Minister Theresa May has to inject this hormone into her stomach before every meal because she is diabetic. Hyattsville.
Insulin.
Insulin, absolutely right. Go again, red.
Zoo parade for 10 points.
Zoo parade for 10 points. Teams, you know, there's a saying about this invertebrate mollusk that says how happy it is, which doesn't make a lot of sense because it is destined to become chowder soup in most cases. Hyattsville.
Clam.
Yeah, happy as a clam. Why so happy? Go red.
Green things for 10 points.
Green things for 10. Teams, if you see a large group of kelp underwater, that grouping has what same name as Hyattsville?
A forest.
A forest, yeah, just like the Enchanted Forest or the Sherwood Forest. Go red.
Body systems for 10 points.
Body systems for 10. Teams, if you are suffering from malocclusion, what body parts don't meet up the way they should? Yeah, Samuel Ogle.
What are intestines?
Not your intestines. No, good try. That's a good try. Malocclusion, that means what 2 body parts aren't meeting up the way they should?
Your knees.
Your teeth. Your teeth if they don't meet properly. Try again. No points that time.
Let's get physical for 10 points.
Physical for 10 points. Teams, there is a Japanese spacecraft that is all set to land on one of these heavenly bodies that is found orbiting between Mars and Jupiter. Hyattsville.
An asteroid.
Asteroid, yes. Very low gravity, so they have to make sure that it is heavy enough that it's going to stay there and anchor it well enough too. All right, you're off to a fast start. Go red.
Science potpourri for 5 points.
Potpourri for 5 points. Former Vice President Al Gore claimed that since the Earth is rising in temperature so quickly, it's almost like the Earth is running a what?
Fever.
Fever, yeah, we're running a fever. We got to do something to get that temperature back down again. Okay, try again.
Science potpourri for 10 points.
Potpourri for 10 points. A lot of you remember Alexander Fleming and his dirty Petri dish that led to the discovery of penicillin. Well, penicillin grew in that dish because what was the stuff growing that the penicillin came out of, Ava?
Virus?
What'd you say?
Viral?
Not virus. No, what was in that dirty Petri dish that actually was the source of that antibiotic penicillin?
Bacteria.
Mold. There was mold growing in there, and the mold was oozing out this liquid, and that was what they discovered. They said, let's test this, because it killed all the bacteria that was around it. All right. Okay, 100, still at 50. We're early in the game. Go red.
Dateline science for 10 points.
Dateline 10 for 10. Hovind and Medifa, you got to talk to Ava a little more because she's doing this for the first time. Give her a nudge, give her a poke, jump on it so you can get in there and at least be part of the first round here. Dateline for 10 points. Teams, recently people found a very unusual copperhead snake that they called bicephalic. Because what did it have?
Two heads?
It had two heads, yeah. Bi-two, cephalic head. That's the way to parse those words. Put them together. Good, you're on the board. Go, green.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, the reason why apples are as red and as enticing as they are is because they hope to get creatures to eat them so that they will spread the apples what? Samuel Ogle?
Seed? Seed?
Seeds, that's right. Spread those seeds out, you know. Comes out in the animal's poop. It's all good for the apple tree. Go green.
Green things for 25.
Big one in that category, teams. 25 points in green things. You know, succulents are plants like cactus and aloe that have water stored in their tissues and stems. I'll give you 25 points if you can spell succulent. All right, Hyattsville says we're going to try. Who's going to be my
pass to
speller?
Nella.
And Samuel Ogle, talk among yourselves in case I have to come to you. Have a backup ready for me. All right, Nella, say the word for me.
Succulent.
One more time.
Succulent.
Succulent. Yes.
SUCCULENT.
You got it. Nicely done. You got yourself 25 points. Good. Go, red.
Dateline science for 5 points.
Dateline science for 5 points. Teams, you know, last summer when that raccoon climbed that 22-story skyscraper in Minneapolis, it was like this fictional ape that climbed the Empire State Building. Hyattsville.
King Kong.
If you don't know that answer, I don't know about you. Go, red.
Let's get physical for 5 points.
Get physical for 5. All right. Teams, you know, it's almost Thanksgiving time. We eat a lot of turkey, and people start talking about tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid that, like milk, is a soporific, which means it can put you to what? Hyattsville?
Sleep.
Put you to sleep. Yeah, that's why you get so tired after a turkey dinner. Some people say it's the tryptophan. I think you're just too full. All right, the buzzer says the first round is over, and our score is 65 for Samuel Ogle, 135 for Hyattsville. We'll be back right away. Don't go away for round 2. Welcome back. Nice to have you here on Science Bowl today. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Here we are in our 33rd year of competition in Prince George's schools, and we've seen some wonderful students over those years, and we've got some wonderful students here today. As we were saying at the top of the show, 5 of 6 of them have been here before, and maybe that's why you seem so relaxed today. Nicholas, tell us about Hyattsville. Who's your principal?
Mr. Boone.
Absolutely right, and I remember him from the first day of school a couple years ago. And tell us who your sponsor is.
Miss Davis.
Miss Davis, and Miss Davis does a great job with you. And Miss Davis, thank you for always bringing great teams back here. Alternates on your team, Nick?
We have Shree and Jason who couldn't make it today.
All right, and we will bring out the alternate in just a few moments along with Miss Davis. Tell me something that you really like about Hyattsville. I know it's an art school. Tell me more.
It's a creative performing arts school, and where you can audition for like many different fields, like band, orchestra, art, and theater, just to name a few. And it's really a diverse school, and the teachers are great.
So you a lot of creative people there, including yourselves. What do you want to do someday, Nick?
I'm not really sure, but I think I might want to do something in politics.
Politics. We were talking about that earlier, and he's very cagey about what he might do, just like a good politician. Don't make too many commitments right up front. He wants to think about it. Nella, nice to have you back again. Why do you like the show?
I'm not really sure. It's just fun to answer questions and, be here.
Cool, cool. Nice to have you with us. What do you want to do someday? Do you know yet?
Computer engineer, probably.
Computer engineering, all right. And Owen, you're a cook, yeah? Chicken nuggets, cookies, you're in the kitchen, right? You're making that stuff. How'd you learn to cook?
My mom taught me, and I also learned a little bit from my church.
Wow. Yeah, if you learn to cook, that you're way ahead in life. You're not going to be eating takeout all the time. You're going to be eating good stuff because you know what goes into it. Why do you like the show?
I like it because the adrenaline rush, and I also like just answering questions about science like Noah.
And you're really good at it, too. You know a lot about science, young man. Samuel Ogle, nice to have you guys here. And almost everybody over there is a veteran of the show. We sit at the top. Ava is brand new to it. Ava, how'd they make you the captain?
I'm the loudest.
You're the loudest, she said. And loud is good here because we want to hear exactly what they say. And you got a nice spirit about you. I like students that seem to be having fun here, and you seem like you're having a good time. Tell me about Samuel Ogle. Who's your principal?
Miss Marshall.
Wonderful. And a sponsor of your team?
Miss Pumphrey.
Miss Pumphrey, she's out there. And Karen, thank you for all the work that you've been doing as well to get this team organized. And Ava, any alternates on your team?
We have Kelly Tran. She's really cool and nice.
Yeah, she'll be out in a few moments with Miss Pumphrey. Something special about Ogle you want to tell people at home?
We have so many awesome teachers and counselors, and just if you need help in any subject, there's definitely at least a teacher or a student who will be out there to just help anybody.
Wow. You ought to go into PR. You're a really good communicator. What do you want to do someday?
I want to be a psychiatrist.
I can see you doing that. All right. Well, hopefully you get some help in the second round here from the two veterans here. Madifa, nice to have you back. You were on the Yorktown elementary team at one time, correct? How long ago was that?
That was in 5th grade, so about 2 to 3 years ago.
Wow, so here you are back again. So nice to see. You're grown up, you're an 8th grader now, and one last shot at Science Bowl this year. Tell me about yourself. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to read and draw, and sometimes I watch movies and things.
Yeah, and you like science fiction, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you want to do professionally someday?
I think I want to be a pharmacist.
Pharmacist, well. A pharmacist, that's a tough job. People coming in with all these prescriptions, and you want to make sure that these drugs don't interact in the wrong way with each other. Hovind, nice to have you back. You were also on the Yorktown team, yeah? So were you on the same team as Madifa?
Yeah. He was one of the alternates.
Yeah. Deja vu. Yeah. Tell us about yourself. What do you want to do, young man, someday?
An engineer.
An engineer. And what do you do in your spare time?
Usually watch any kind of videos.
Yeah, because you told me you really like YouTube videos, yeah? Wonderful. All right, let's get back to the game. 135 to 65, red advantage. Nick, start us out, please.
Zoo Parade for 15 points.
Zoo Parade for 15. Teams, there's a new program on the National Geographic Channel called Scaled. It's all about lizards and reptiles, but it's not about amphibians, because amphibians are not covered with scales. They're covered with what? Samuel Ogle.
Skin?
Skin, absolutely right. Thank you for your help, Madifa. Yeah, toads, frogs, they have skin. They don't have scales. All right, go green. Nice answer.
Zoo Parade for 20?
Zoo Parade for 20 points is a multiple choice question. Teams, if you go to Calvert Cliff State Park, you're going to see something called a Puritan tiger beetle. Can't find it anywhere else in the world. Because of that, do we call it intrinsic, pandemic, or endemic? Which of those three? Nicholas?
Endemic.
It is endemic because that's the only place where you find it. Good choice. Good word. Go red.
Zoo Parade for 5 points.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, even though these birds can't talk, and they certainly can't spy, if you tattle on somebody, you're known as a stool what, Samuel Ogle? You're a stool what?
Sitter?
I can't hear you.
Sitter?
You're going to have to talk louder.
Sitter?
No. Nope. Hyattsville, even though this bird can't talk and it certainly can't spy, if you snitch and tell on somebody, you're known as a stool what?
Stork.
Pigeon. You're a stool pigeon. Go again, red.
Body systems for 5 points.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, all of us primates, all the apes and human beings included, we all have 4 fingers and a thumb. But because those digits are different sizes in all the species, We are the only primates that can make a what? Samuel Ogle. What you got?
Snap?
No, that's a good try. We're the only primates because we have different sized digits than the other primates. We're the only ones that can make a what?
A tool.
A fist. A fist. Go red.
Green things for 15 points.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, plants can move even though they don't have triceps or biceps or any other of these that we do.
Muscles.
Muscles, yeah. Come on, Hoven. When I say something like biceps, triceps, boom, bang, muscles, hit. Give her a little nudge. Get in the game. Go.
Let's get physical for 15 points.
Let's get physical for 15 points. Teams, if you take 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen, you get water. That grouping together of those atoms is described by what M?
Molecule?
Yeah, you got a molecule. You got it. Yeah, thanks, Medifa. Medifa, go. Ava.
Green things for 20.
Green things, 20 points. Teams, lactose, which is milk sugar, is made up of 1/2 called galactose, and the other half of lactose is made up of this sugar that plants make during photosynthesis. Name that one, Samuel Ogle.
Chlorophyll?
Not chlorophyll, no. What kind of sugar makes the other half of lactose? Half of it is galactose. The other half is this sugar that plants make during photosynthesis.
Fructose.
Glucose. That's what I want to hear. Good. Come back. Go red.
Science potpourri for 15 points.
Potpourri for 15 points is a multiple choice question. Medifa loves science fiction. The top science fiction award is called the Fistula Award, the Gastrula Award, or the Nebula Award. Which of those 3, Nicholas?
Nebula
The
award.
nebula is something you find in the heavens, a group of stars. The other 2 have to do with physical properties of a body. Go again, red.
Dateline science for 15 points.
Dateline science for 15 points. Teams, because this ocean's sea ice is melting so fast, Russia is now able to trade more easily with Northern Europe. Name that ocean. Come on, Samuel Ogle.
Atlantic Ocean?
Not the Atlantic. Sea ice in this ocean is melting so fast that Russia is now able to trade more easily with Northern Europe.
The Arctic Ocean.
The Arctic Ocean, the one that's way up top there. Go red.
Body systems for 20 points.
Body systems for 20. All right, teams, the new Apple Watch. It is amazing. It has an EKG feature, what lets you monitor what bodily function?
Heart rate?
Heart rate. You got that right, Ava. Good answer. Good. Go.
Zoo Parade for 25.
Zoo Parade 25, big one in that category. Teams, you maybe have seen pictures of them at the National Zoo. They say, visit our nudist colony. These are called naked mole rats. These are mammals, but they act like insects because they live in colonies, and the head female is called the queen. She's the only one that can reproduce because what organ is she the only one possessing where the eggs come from? The only organ where the eggs can come from, only the queen has that organ, Ava.
What are the ovaries?
You got that right. 2 in a row. Good. Go.
Let's get physical for 25.
Let's get physical for 25 points. Teams, your question is as follows. You know, the Saffir-Simpson scale rates hurricanes, category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, based on the wind speed. But we know that wind does not kill most people in a hurricane. This does. Hyattsville.
Flooding.
Flooding or the storm surge. Absolutely right. Good. Red.
Dateline science for 15 points.
Dateline for 15. I think that one should be gone. Was that not that ocean, the Arctic Ocean? Yes, I'm sorry. That one is not available. Go ahead, Nick.
Let's get physical for 20 points.
Let's get physical for 20 as a visual question. Look at the monitor in the studio, if you would, please. Teams, this is a Galileo thermometer. It's filled with vegetable oil, and those little balls have different kinds of liquids that float up and down depending on the temperature and also this physical property that, yes, Nicholas.
Buoyancy.
Not buoyancy, good try. What physical property is determined by dividing the mass by the volume?
Density.
Density, absolutely right. Good. Thank you, Medifa, for your assist. Go. Green.
Oh,
Ava?
yeah, it's us. Dateline Science for 25.
Dateline Science for 25 points. Another visual question. Look back at the monitor. If you saw the movie Hidden Figures, the woman on the right is Katherine Johnson. She was a mathematician. She's 100 years old, and it was she who came up with the exact calculations to put that man into orbit. The first American, Hyattsville. Oh, excuse me, Samuel Ogle.
Neil Armstrong?
No.
Not Neil Armstrong, no. Hyattsville, can you identify the man on the left, the first American to orbit the Earth?
John Glenn.
That is John Glenn, yes indeed. Go Red.
Dateline Science for 20 points.
Dateline Science for 20 points. Teams, the insecticide DDT, which is now banned, was so fatal to songbirds that when Rachel Carson wrote her famous book, she described the season of spring as being what? Yeah.
Deadly.
Not deadly, good try. Since it was so fatal, that pesticide, to songbirds, she described the spring that followed as what kind of spring?
A massacre?
Silent Spring. Silent Spring was the name of the book. 3 questions left. Nicholas, please.
Body Systems for 25 points.
Body Systems for 25. All right, teams. If you ever watch that show, American Ninja, where everybody is trying to swing and not fall into the water, there was a contestant recently. His name was Kevin Boole. There were a lot of people in the audience who were cheering him on because they, like he, have alopecia, meaning none of them have any what, Hyattsville?
Hair.
Hair. They were all hairless. Good. Red.
Science potpourri for 20 points.
Potpourri for 20 points. Finish this sequence for me. If you're looking at the amount of space on your device, your electronic device, if you have a lot of kilobytes, you have a megabyte. Lots of megabytes become a gigabyte. Lots of gigabytes become one of these, Hyattsville.
Terabyte.
Terabyte, that's right. Boy, Owen, you almost jumped out of your chair there. You knew that one. Good. Last question of the game, 25 points in Science Potpourri is as follows. You know, the mountain goats that live here in America have come to associate we human beings with salt. What 2 substances do we produce that the goats like to come around and lick? What you got?
Sweat and saliva?
Sweat and saliva. Good try. Not quite. 2 salty things that seem to draw in the mountain goats because they're like natural salt licks. Nick?
Sweat and urine.
Sweat and urine. That's exactly right. And with that, we come to the end of the game. Looks like Hyattsville has prevailed. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed this game at home. Boy, was it a high-scoring game that testifies to the skill of these 6 young people, all of whom, but one, was a veteran on the show here, but Ava acquitted herself beautifully. Our final tally is Samuel Ogle 160, Hyattsville 340. Congratulations to Owen and Nick and Nella and Shree and Miss Davis. Congratulations. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Good job, everybody. And over at Samuel Ogle, let's see some smiles. You guys really came back in that second round. Ava and Medifa and Hoven. And who is back there? Is that Kelly? Kelly, nice to have you here today. I know you knew some of those answers. And Ms. Pumphrey, thank you for all the work you do and for being here and supporting these young people. And thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. I'm Dave Zarin. Until then, bye-bye.